Grab television, because you know it's good if it's made in Microsoft Publisher. As opposed to starting an old series, which you should not be playing. So it's a famous racing game from the Nintendo 64 era, and you're let's playing it. What's wrong with that sentence? I can spot at least 3 things. God, his frame rate is awful. We can read, and we've probably all played it, you know. Crap entertainment.
Alright, so Mario Kart 64 works like this.
Okay, is he seriously about to... What? He's explaining Mario Kart in in-depth detail.
And you drift with the R button, and you throw items.
My God!
I'm gonna show you how to drift. You drift with R, switch left.
You see, the ultimate goal of your LP is to be somewhat more informative than the instruction manual, but this guy probably lost that memo.
Which was what I'm playing with right now, or if you're playing this on Virtual Console, you basically use the right camera.
He's still going on about it.
You press right on it to switch to speedometer, and you press right once again to show a gauge of where other.
For instance, you can see we've got an entire lab without any helpful commentary. The thing about explaining the controls in an LP is it's just I just don't why would you even bother with it? I don't think anybody watching is going to care about you tripping over your own green shell. No, I don't think anybody watching is going to care about what button you press to do a power slide, unless they're actually going to play it, in which case they could probably figure it out. I mean, there's not that many buttons, even on the N64 controller.
So, that's basically the basic gist of Mario Kart 64.
And it took them 2.5 laps.
It's a Mario Kart racing game, so it's the original one, and in my opinion, it is the best Mario Kart racing game. Currently, we're doing LUIGI's RACEWAY, which is the simplest track.
Okay, so 3 laps in, and we finally discover the name of this place. You know what's more enthralling than watching somebody play a rather uninteresting to watch racing game? Watching somebody play a rather uninteresting to watch racing game in PowerPoint form. They're not. No. Well, first 3. Well, that's debatable. Anyway, it's a game from 1996, and the models are actually pretty damn good for 1996. So. Also, if you notice that half the time, the game sound is only coming from right speaker. That's going to be important later. And the LPR has left the room and is trying to commentate from next door. What even happened there? He's explaining the scoring system! Come on! So now this has gone from way too overcommentated to now I can actually hear myself think, maybe this LP is getting better after all. Too bad he's gotten worse at the game. Maybe he actually did try to go into another room, and the reason he's doing so much worse this race is because he can't actually see the screen. I like how he goes by the actual game's description of Link, like that actually means anything. What do you think is a meter in this game? Yes, longest tracks in the game. Your gigantic white subtitle doesn't help, but that's the only editing you did. He's still explaining it! Dude! Mario Kart is not a theoretical science! You don't need this much explanation! It's like that stupid little throwaway joke with the mushroom thing I did in my video. Just, why would you just explain this in such comprehensive detail? It's wasting your time, it's wasting our time. It's just not good for anyone. Get the blue shell, but only if you want all your friends to hate you forever. Like, it may sound like, you know, I'm just complaining about this because I played the game before, which is true, I have played the game before, but this, folks at home, this isn't like, you know, really complicated stuff. This is stuff that's like in the preamble, in the manual. Like, This is like explaining the controls of a platformer. And he's still going on. No, it's not. Not at all. Spoilers, he's not going to get a gold cup on all the cups. In fact, if you notice, he's actually already beaten this game. There isn't really much reward to beating Mario Kart 64's Grand Prix mode, except you get stupid shit for multiplayer, and I think time trial. But still, you've kind of already defeated the point when you've already actually beaten the game before you start LPing it, you know? And you never have a mushroom, by the way. Oh yeah. Actually, no, unless you steer, you're going to fall off. But apparently, the concept of a steering wheel eludes this person. This is just so gripping. I really do feel like I'm playing Mario Kart 64. The world's most boring and choppy frame-rated game of Super Mario 64. So who at home wants to take bets on whether this is an emulator, a really awfully game-bridged Nintendo 64, or a virtual console thing? By the scan lines, it's probably original in 64, which does not explain the choppiness at all. How does that even go about? Do you just have a game bridge from 1992? Like, my god. And you do horribly at them when you're not recording too, but... He's explained that is like the most single-handedly self-explaining item in all of these games. It's explaining the style when you can literally actively see what's going on with it right in front of your own face is pretty much an exercise in pointlessness. Like it did now, but that didn't stop him the second time apparently. Maybe he looked at like the first 3 seconds of the video and decided it was good enough. If you notice, the auto-syncness has gone awful. There was 3 seconds between the race starting and the sound picking up that it did, so... You know, I gotta say, at least I can't fault him for not living up to his name. I think he's done that rather well. He's still explaining the game! It's Mario Kart! It's Mario Kart! You don't need to sit there and talk about the very bare basics of Mario Kart and the AI and all that. I mean, you've kind of disappointed the LP when you're literally explaining the minute details and controls. How about letting the game explain itself? You're doing a Let's Play, not an audiobook. Not a really choppy frame rate audiobook with only the sound only coming in from one speaker. No! Flap in the air. That's a precise recount of what actually happens. Wow, that was nearly 40 seconds between finishing the lab and the sound picking up that you did. I was hoping he would bring up how the Japanese version has little parodies for actual ads, but no, he just had to go and ruin it by just saying, "Oh, I like advertisements." And he's already lost. I hope he doesn't get the gold. I really hope he doesn't get the gold. That was the longest 2 minutes 10 seconds of my life. This is what you deserve. When we do the first cup again, presumably.